Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. That is an alligator, and I think there's another one over here somewhere. It's kind of hard to see on camera. We are out at the Lake Apopka Wildlife Drive, I think is what it's called. And it's interesting, it's a rehabilitated vegetable growing operation that now offers miles of canals for wildlife, birds, alligators, and it's a beautiful drive, free of charge, really fun thing to do. But that is neither here nor there, because today on Record-ology we are looking at a record player unlike any I've ever seen before, and I chuckle because I've said that so many times, but truly this one is bizarre. You're not going to want to miss this.
This is Record-ology.
So today we have the Vangoa, I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it, record player RP-01, not to be confused with the Riga RP-01. This is the RP-01, and I'm curious to find out what it's all about. This is an entry-level product for people just getting into this or looking to add an affordable second record player. As you can see, the box looks like it's been through the ringer a little bit. Hopefully everything arrived here safely. Let's take a look inside. Okay, big reveal. And here we go. Okay, so looks like we've got speakers and the record player. This is really interesting because this is very small. This is not sure how this can be a record player if these are speakers. The box as a whole is pretty small. So I'm really curious how this is going to work out. But we've got a little pamphlet there. Everything is packed in foam. Looks like we've got an accessory box here. So let's go ahead and open this up and see what kind of wonderful accessories they've given us. This is really interesting. I've never seen anything quite like that. You would think after 6 years of doing this, I would stop saying that, but I keep seeing new stuff. What on earth? Is this a clamp? Does it come with a record clamp? That's like a aluminum, heavy-duty metal parts here. That's always encouraging, but I'm curious. Does this come with a clamp as part of the design? And then what's in here? What on earth? One of the most interesting unboxings we've ever done. So I'm guessing this is, okay, so that's like a soft felt brush, record brush. And then in here, there's more accessories. They give you a stylus brush, a couple different types, a carbon fiber one and a standard brush. Very cool. Interesting. Okay, I like it. I think it's interesting when a product manages to surprise me because I've seen so many things at this point. All right, the speakers are small, compact little speakers there. We've got a RCA jack terminated speaker wire. Seen that a couple of times before. This is quality packing material. This isn't just cheap open cell foam. These are the actual higher end ones, so that's good. We'll take a look at those speakers in a minute. And of course, the record player. Okay, so yeah, this is very small. Let's go ahead and take the styrofoam off. Yeah, that's like the size of like the Vibe record player. Like this is like LP60 size, maybe even a tad bit smaller than that. We got the sticky shrink wrap on the dust cover, small platters. Oh, this is a Skywind mechanism ceramic cartridge. Dang, I was kind of hoping this would be a magnetic. So then we got a little dust cover. These don't really do much. I mean, it even has the rubber nubs. Sometimes I'll leave the rubber nubs off if they're putting on one of these, but to have both is kind of overkill in my opinion. It doesn't do anything wrong, but I mean, kind of makes it look a little nicer. So we're going to go ahead and take off this. It's like a sticky shrink wrap. And there it is. It looks pretty snazzy, actually. I like the wood. And it looks like we've got, is this a speaker on the front? I think that might be just decorative. It looks like speaker fabric, feels like speaker fabric. But I think the only speakers are the external ones. So yeah. Skywind type of mechanism, 45 adapter. Right back here.
Have you ordered your official Record-ology 45 adapter yet? Check out the link in the video description below.
And metal tone arm, spring-loaded counterbalance. It'll be a 3-speed turntable with an auto stop if you're interested in that. It also has a cueing lever. I have to admit, I'm a little taken aback that this comes with this heavy-duty record clamp. I mean, this is way, way overkill for this level of a record player. I don't even know if it's a good idea. I mean, this is kind of a heavy weight. Well, it's not a record weight, it's a record clamp, but it still has some weight. I don't know if it's a good idea to put that much strain on that poor little JYK motor that's running this thing. So it'll be interesting. You know what? Let's do a test. We'll test the speed, obviously, but we'll test it with and without the clamp to see if that makes a difference. I'm genuinely curious. A little fit and finish issues here and there, but overall, I think it's a pretty snazzy look. Keeping in mind this is very entry level. We're not trying to replace high-end turntables with this. We're trying to add to an existing collection of systems, or possibly, we'll look at that in a minute, or possibly just get started here. I think the look is good. Nothing on this side, but if we rotate around to the back, I've seen this back panel before. We've got our power supply, we've got a line output, and an aux in. Curiously enough, the QC stickers covering the aux in. It's got hinges, it's got the dust cover, the openings because the record will protrude because it is such a small player. And then it looks like our main control panel is on the right side here. We've got a USB connection, a headphone jack, a Bluetooth connection, transport controls, and a mode switch and volume. These are, I think those are plastic switches and buttons, but that's really good drag on that, by the way. That's really good drag on that. We'll get the job done. And even though we've seen it a million times, let's look at the tone arm mechanism itself. There it is. We've gone over these so many times, but at least it's the variant with the lift shelf. The descend seems decent, although it's got a pretty dramatic lift. I could pop up a little bit there. We got the clamp, 3-speed switch, as well as the auto off. And like I said, it does have a cueing lever, which is good. Somebody in the comments told me recently that these little rubber stops here not only protect the plinth from the dust cover crashing down on it, but it also gives you a place to lift, which I thought was a pretty cool idea as well. A little tip there from the community. So yeah, there it is. I mean, obviously this is going to be a basic entry-level unit. The big question with the ceramic cartridge is, have they properly impedance matched it? And if they have, it should sound good. Not even just decent, it should sound good. There is a way to get these to sound good. It's the question of whether or not they've taken the steps necessary to make that happen. And there's our familiar friend, the Chuo Denshi clone. It does have a tubular metal cantilever, that is good. And the stylus, I can see a little bit of a reddish hue to the stylus itself, so I'm guessing that it's probably sapphire. But as you know, you can upgrade that no problem whatsoever. Nothing really to see on the bottom except these 4 rubberized plastic feet. This is probably not a unit that you would want to service. It would definitely void your warranty and would not be recommended. It would be dangerous. Let's take a look at the speakers. I just had this moment of realization. That must not be a line output on the back. That must be an amplified output labeled as a line output because that's where these speakers connect. That's a little bit of an issue. Let's look at, that would be dangerous if you plugged the line output of that into an input that was expecting a line level versus an amplified signal. Let's look at the specifications. Obviously it is belt drive, 3 speeds. We knew all of that. The speakers that we're looking at here are 5 watts, 4 ohms. So not the most powerful things you've ever seen. And before we talk about that, a word on the veneer. The veneer is okay. I mean, it's not a high quality textured veneer. It's a smooth kind of photographic veneer. And the resolution of the veneer isn't the highest I've ever seen. It's not the worst either. But there's just not much, there's foam pads here. They put the seam of that wrap on the bottom there. The grills don't come off, but you can kind of see what we're dealing with here. I am assuming that this is just a hole up here because it did not mention anything about tweeters. It looks like we got a basic off-the-shelf full range speaker. Okay, next let's go ahead and check the functionality and the speed consistency. Strobe warning for anybody that's sensitive to that. It's weird because it basically says just put the record on and play it. And then it says for Bluetooth, put it into Bluetooth mode. And then for USB, just stick a USB stick in there and it'll automatically play. So what does the mode switch actually do then? That's what I'm having a hard time understanding. Maybe you have to be connected to Bluetooth or the USB to switch back to vinyl mode with that. I'm not 100% sure. So we're just gonna go ahead and put the record on and go from there. Keep an eye right here. This is 33 RPM. You can see those lines marching a tad bit to the left. What happens when I add the weight of the clamp? Does that impede the speed? And it really doesn't that much. I'm surprised. And going to 45. 45 still a tad bit fast. And 78 as well. Okay, I'm a little surprised. The clamp doesn't, add a detrimental amount of weight. It might add a little bit of wear to the motor. The motor probably doesn't really appreciate the clamp, but it's not too bad. So this is lighter than a record weight, but does the same thing in the end. Some people say, though, that these clamps can really do some damage to the spindle. And I've actually seen record players, turntables, that say don't use clamps, that it's not good for the turntable. And just for grins, let's check the tracking force. It should be between 5 and 6. And I bet it is just under 5. A little bit light, actually, for this cartridge. Okay, for a test subject, we will be using the Enoch Light Future Sound Shock, which we've used a lot, I know, but it's just a great test record. And I'm using the front-facing stereo mics, so we'll listen to these speakers together in the room ambiently. And without further ado, let's spin it up. Okay, so the sounds to me a little distorted, actually. Do you guys hear that? Yeah, I'm definitely hearing some distortion. So just for grains, let's go ahead and put the clamp on. Yeah, so I got the clamp on. Also, I'm going to clean the record and the stylus again. They do give you a replacement stylus, which is good, but I'm going to go ahead and do my anti-static cleaner on that and anti-static wipe down with a carbon fiber on the record. Just to be on the safe side. This will give it a good wet clean and make sure there's no static built up on it. Although I don't think that's the problem, but it's always good to clean your styli. And as you can see, there are some particulates on this record, so let's give it a fair shot and use the carbon fiber brush, which will deep clean those grooves and also help to discharge any static electricity. All right, let's go ahead and drop the needle again. Okay, this will be interesting. I've removed their speakers from the equation. I've added my own. I've got a little sound bar here. And I'm running it out of the headphone jack, which is obviously a variable output, it's not a line level, into the aux in, and I've matched the levels. So let's see if the issue is with the unit or with those speakers. Let's drop our needle. To my ears, it definitely sounds better, but the sound is still crushed. It still sounds like there's some distortion there, and I'm not 100% sure of where that's coming from. Okay, just for grins, let's go ahead and play something off the USB. I've got MP3s, waves, WMA files, etc., on here. So let's go ahead and try to insert the USB. A little stiff there. Okay, so that is going to be MP3. That's WMA. And that is a WAV file. Okay, impressive. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do a line input recording just to be completely thorough. So this will be recording from the headphone jack onto here. And without further ado, here we go. Bottom line here, it's an interesting product. I think that they could turn this into something that is truly good. We'll be curious to see what happens to it and their development of it in the future. But mostly, I hope you enjoyed that show. Happy record hunting, and we'll see you next time.